Good afternoon. Did you know that 1 in 3 Americans, according to some studies, do not know how to tie a tie? This is a staggering stat. And in many instances in my life, I've had friends that approached me in an effort to ask me how to tie a tie for them because they didn't know how to tie one for a professional event they were attending or a formal event they were attending in the near future. And I thought, given these experiences and the demographics of the audience that are involved in this presentation, that I would attempt to pass on my knowledge regarding the intricacies of tying a tie to the audience involved today because this is a very important skill to learn. And when you're first attempting to tie a tie, it can be quite daunting to the untrained professional in attempting to do so. In addition to that, a Swedish mathematicians team recently concluded that there are over 175,000 ways in which one can tie a tie. Um, so when you're attempting to tie one at first, given all these ways, it can be quite a daunting experience. So throughout the course of my presentation, I will attempt to alleviate this difficulty by passing on my knowledge of how to tie a classic Windsor knot, which, according to many people, is a very professional looking, classy look that you can wear and know with confidence that you're going to look good in your professional endeavors. Now, before we begin, there are 3 ties around my neck. I did this to emphasize the importance of choosing a properly colored tie. Um, I think, given the blue shirt that I'm wearing, a safe bet is gold. So I'm going to toss these aside. I feel like gold and blue are always a pretty safe bet when handling professional situations. Um, the first thing that you'd like to do when tying a tie is open up the collar. That's a key step because if you fail to do this, at the end you might have to start all over once you're done tying a tie. We're going to use today a normal width tie, as you can see. Recently, there's been a trend in today's society where there are thinner ties being used by many professionals, but I think a safer option for us is to go with the medium-sized tie, as you can see here. Now, when we start to tie a tie, we're about to approach the step with the biggest intricacy, and it's specific to you as the tie wearer. I like to put the wide side with the front facing out on my right, and I'd like to put the wide side almost twice, if not more than twice the length down the side of my body than the thin side of the tie. And as you'll see when you get more practice, that this will enable you to either tie it too long if you put the wide side longer, or too short if you put the wide side too high. So you might have to take a couple tries to get this perfectly right. But after you do it a bunch of times, you'll get it down to almost a science. So I'm going to put it down the wide side more than twice the length of my thin side of the tie. And this is where it starts to get a little bit confusing because you have to wrap the wide side of the tie around the thin side to create a V, not once, but then twice, as so, where you have 2 loops around the thin side. Once you have 2 loops around the thin side, you take the wide angle of the tie and put that through the V that you've since created, as so, with the tie facing up, and with the thin side out here and the wide side up here, you put the wide side in between this newly formed circle with the straps, and then you gently pull through as such. Once you pull through, you have around your neck, you've created a seam right here, and then you tug gently on the thin side of the tie down here and pull up to create a nice fitting tie as so. And then pull down with the collar to hide the wraparound. And then to hide the thin layer from view, to create a more clean approach, you use the strap on the back of the tie to pull this down and hide the thin side as such. Now, don't get discouraged when you try this if you don't get it right perfectly. It's a very frustrating thing, and you're probably not going to get it right the first time around. But after a few trial runs at this approach, I think you'll find that tying a Windsor knot is much easier than you before thought it was, and that you'll no longer have to run around asking friends to tie your ties in pressure professional situations. And that's just one thing off your chest that you previously did not have. Thanks for attending today's lesson.
Yeah! One thing off your chest.
I think you killed it.